All right, everybody. Hey, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you like the drive. This is not a video that I'm pulling off, but we're gonna do the farming district drive. And for the desert, it's going to be eye-whopping because the cottonwoods are changing colors if there's still leaves on them, because we have had some pretty crazy weather. So I figured, I'll do a talk while I do the drive. And we'll see how far that gets us today. So, I've been thinking a lot about something that, I didn't really think about in nature until I really kind of studied biodynamic farming and, kind of more of the alchemy, of nature. And how that corresponds to us, the human being, and the animals and everything else. And one of the things that I've been really thinking about, because we've been getting a lot of frozen ground and we get these ice crystals, and been contemplating this winter a lot more kind of about, water becoming more like quartz, crystallized. And the period of time that we're focused in on, and the crystallization. And whenever I think about crystallization or hard minerals and crystals, I think about the bones. And, that they're kind of the silica, they're the structure. They're the crystallized form that is crystallized, year round, but without the framework of the structure, we would not be able to do things. I mean, you think about people who are born with, spinal problems, and people that, break things like so severely, and, it just stops them from moving forward. And it just kills like the whole movement of the structure. So today I was thinking a lot about looking at the little, crystals that formed on the ground from it getting down really cold. And I was just thinking about what that kind of looks like. What does that mean to me? And what it's telling me is that this is the period of time, where I'm at on Earth of crystallization. So what is that? Well, crystallizing or hardening is, I think, kind of a really important period of our lives, wintertime in some places, that we just really don't actually look at. And it's a period of drawing back, tightening up, forming a structure, hardening the structure. So I was thinking about trees, and where the energy is, like dynamically pulled down. For the most part, not all trees, but for the most part, the trees pull down, and the flowing parts of the trees shut down and are driven below the surface. And also because of, a lot of the Native American spirituality work, wintertime, they've always talked about that being the time that you pull in, kind of the time period that you kind of slow down, repair, recovery. You go on the visions of the dreaming bear. And I've done ceremonies where you, what they call, put the bear to sleep. And even though we're doing it in a physical way and we're making offerings to the bear, we're also helping to assist it on its spiritual journey into the winter and helping it. But we're also in some ways engaging with it, as our spiritual bear and bringing it in so that we can travel the dream world. We can travel the other planes of existence through the winter. And we can do it in a very grounded way because we're pulling in and pulling down. And so that becomes grounded, way less in the astral. We're way less astral and we're way more physical. We're more earth-based. And this is a really good place, to plunge off of into the dreaming world. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about how much I don't do well with crystallization. I mean, even in the winter times, even when I was younger, I was like snowboarding and this, that, and the other thing. And there was never really a period that I spent where I could crystallize. I could bring down, go in, bring in and down. And how on some levels it scared me, to stop moving. And since your thoughts become more crystallized, which are hardened, to get out of that, OCD scrutiny type function, going into the dreaming realm more, the meditation places, and constructing like a dreaming platform, a platform in which to do, subconscious work. Meeting, kind of more with, the creator and all the things that lie there that we just don't have time for, in the other processes. So I was just really thinking about that this morning, about, how do I take advantage of, like the crystallized period? How do I, really significantly pull in and pull down without losing touch with my external reality? And how do I, during this process, use the hardening to help, my structure, to help, my bones and, the more hardened parts of my own personal, crystal structure. I think it also plays a lot, not only just in the bones this time of year, but it also plays a lot this time of year in the blood. One of my native teachers used to say that, our blood is also crystals. And if you think about it, and you've got lots of minerals and vitamins and all kinds of stuff in your body, and you're functioning well, your blood does become like crystals. So I think we have, as a human being, with the body. I think we have more actually related to what we would call like winter forms and winter structures and crystallization of water and that hard, mineral period, and the ability to go within and down, into ourselves. I think we have more in common with that period of time, but we've been taught that we don't have that in common. That, we have to be this or that. And, the thing is, like, those things don't appear in nature. There really isn't competitiveness in nature. If you're a tree that requires more sun and your seed self landed in a place where there's a lot of shade, you're just not going to grow. And you're really hoping and relying on the wind or an animal that come and pick you up or stick onto something as it's walking through to deliver you to a place where, it's going to be a little bit more compatible for who and what you are. And even watching the birds, I've got a gazillion birds because I put water up and there's just no water for long distances for them right now. And I have birds coming in. I have small prey birds. I have like woodpeckers. I have flickers. I have down to the teeniest little birds. I think I even saw a hummingbird the other day. And they don't fight. There's this one small pan of water. I just got to keep the crystals out of it, right? I have to go out every day and drop it on the ground to release the crystallized forms and refill it so that they have actual fluid water. And they come in just like gazillions. And I was thinking, like they don't fight. They even like wait. They'll wait for everybody to get their drink. And even though there are lots of different types of species of birds, they do different things. And there is no competition. They're not competitive. And they were even out there today with a wild cat that lives under my house, which I'm grateful for. And I watched him go out to the big patch of catnip that for some reason is still alive, and I have no idea why, other than it loves me. And it loves its life. It should be like just, totally disintegrated by the weather and the freezing and the fact that I'm not really watering it right now. But I watched the wild cat, go over to it and roll around in it and eat it and grab it and touch it. And here he is, like, enjoying himself rolling around in the catnip, just having a really great time. I'm like, talk about wake and bake. And not even paying attention to what the birds are up to. And the bird's not even paying attention to what the cat's doing. Because, right now they're not in a period of competition. They're not in a period of, I have to survive, because the cat wants to eat me. And so there's different, I guess in the Bible, what is it? For everything there's a time. But there's also cyclical times. So what am I going to do? What are my thoughts about what I'm going to do with this period? Well, number one, I'm not going to run away from it like I usually do. Number two, I'm going to slow way down and just really pay attention to lots of different things. Number three, I'm going to definitely get some more rest. I'm going to eat warmer food. Number five, really going to make sure that I'm getting enough sunlight. And I'm out exploring. And I'm seeing how everything else relates to the crystallized, the period of crystallization. and how it moves into it, and then how it'll move out of it, come spring. So those are the kind of things I'm going to do. And so because of that, I found this book at the thrift store for like 50 cents. And I think it's called like Meditations from the Mat. And it's about yoga. More on the meditation end of yoga. And I was pretty excited because it's exactly, I think, what I need. But it's 365 days of a year-long period of meditation work, thoughts. But I've dedicated myself to at least getting through it till March, around, like spring break. So I'm at least going to do that far every day and then see what happens, because I need to pull in and pull down and bring my energy in. And, keep my energy good and solid and happy by bringing it down below the surface, right? Below the surface of it. Okay, so just a couple more minutes because we're going to drive through a really beautiful place. Especially this time of year because it's all turning yellow. It's just like eye-popping. I'm sure the video doesn't really show like how gorgeous it is, but I guess it's contrast, against the desert and these beautiful yellows and oranges and amber. But we're going to look at those while we drive through here. So the other thing too is that today I had kind of an interesting thing. I just have things that like appear in the yard where I'm at, and it's just bizarre, like the things that appear. Well, today I got an envelope, like the kind of envelope that you would have received, like a smaller one. The kind of envelope that you would receive like a Valentine's in or a invitation. And I just looked down and there it was. I was just like, that's just the craziest thing. So I think, like when you're in the crystallization period, the winter period, this period, and you're going, in and down, and you're slowing down. I mean, it's also just such an amazing period to see, what pops up in your reality, in the areas around you. Like, what comes up, what pops up. And the thing is not so much like how did they get there, but more like, what does this mean? And so I broke it down thinking, okay, well, there's some kind of invitation maybe on the way, something to that nature. That's what I, would take it for. Oh, did you see them? All of the, oh man, there was like a whole family of them. There was a mama and some babies of sage hen. How cool is that? Anyway, so pay attention to the messages, that are coming in at this time. Slow down, bring down your energy, your sap into the ground down, slow down, pull within, and, treat yourself well. Feel good. And just be. And then see what pops up into your reality. What are the messages that you normally don't always get to pay attention to, or that you run by thinking that they have no importance? I'll tell you what, anything that pops up into your reality is definitely a message trying to tell you something, whether you're walking or it shows up in your yard or whatever's going on. It's definitely some kind of message. And so shocking to me, like, that we will bypass those messages and think about them like, oh, well, that's garbage, and that's this, and that's that. And, you know, we minimize the experience, and we think that it should be large, you know, like, you know, big check of money and all this other stuff, when we're being given the messages all along, but you have to kind of sometimes decode them. But that takes you contemplating, which means you need to go in and down, go in and go within and drive your forces down, ground your forces. All right, everybody, that's it. That was just my contemplation about the winter crystallized, you know, period. And I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.